I'm DJ Premier and I present to you, So What's Up?
Okay, computer. Run it back.
So what's up?
Let's take it back to these female MCs that know how to spit those bars. Here's one from the Fort Greene section of Brooklyn. I had to even put a little twist on it and say Brooklyn. You know, you gotta fix it to say Brooklyn. But she calls herself the Queen of Fort Greene. And it's actually one of the scratch lines I used when I did this record with her. All right? But let's take it back before I say her name. Nah, we're gonna say her name now. Paula Perry. Extra, extra. Another one of my favorite records that I produced. Simple, but funky. And I love female MCs. Shout to MC Light, shout to Sparky D, shout to The Sequence. Shout to Salt and Pepper, shout to the Lady of Rage, shout to Nikki D, shout to Queen Latifah, shout to who else? Shout to the original female MC, Shot Rock, yes, of the Funky 4 Plus One More. And on and on and on, you know, shout to Remy Ma. Oh man, there's so many, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, rest in peace to Special, one of the Conscious Daughters. Oof. Hard, you know what I'm saying? So shout to Gangsta Boo, R.I.P. Miss you, sweetheart. So many MCs, man, you know what I'm saying? And you know, MC Trouble, and it just does not stop. The list goes on and on and on and on. Shout to Eve, you know, they're just hitting me in the head. I'm gonna keep hitting y'all in the head. Moni Love, you know, I'm gonna stop there for now. But again, Paula Perry, another one that was, you know, underrated on the you know, top females that get listed on stuff, but she puts it down in grimy hardcore Brooklyn. Now, let's do the backstory. I haven't done the rewind in a while, but we're doing it now. The backstory: the Juice Crew All-Star, aka Master Ace, the Music Man. Yes, Master Ace had a label that he had started called the INC. But let's go back before that. First, he was on Prism Records. That's where all the Marley Marl productions were coming from, with Biz Marquee and Big Daddy Kane and Glamorous and, of course, Master Ace. And then from there, they moved to Cold Chillin' Records. And then, as everybody started to branch off and do their own thing, Master Ace got signed to the legendary, iconic label on the West Coast, Delicious Vinyl. Delicious Vinyl, of course, housed two of the biggest artists in rap when it came to their label. Of course, Tone Loc with Wild Thing, Funky Cole Medina, and of course, Young MC, Busta Move. And they had other joints, you know, The Far Side. Oof, man, shout to The Far Side. And again, Master Ace, from being a New York artist to come sign to the label, was bringing a new style of things going on. And he actually had an album, that his first album on that label was called Slaughterhouse, all right? Not to be confused with the group with Joel Ortiz, Royce the 5'9", Crooked I, or King Crooked now, and of course, Joe Budden. But this is just the name of the album, Slaughterhouse. Moving on from there, a group of guys had approached Ace about a female MC that they were working with doing her demos. Shout to Ice U Rock and shout to Pop. She was also living in Crown Heights, Brooklyn at the time, and they told Ace to come check her out. He went over there and checked it out, was very impressed with what she was putting down, and she also got signed to the INC, which was his imprint from his label. And shout to Big Beat Records too, because Ace was also there before, once Delicious Vinyl actually got picked up through them. Shout to Craig Cowman, who is still the president of Atlantic Records and all of that channel. Craig Cowman's a DJ, so he understands the ear and taste of music that passes through the pipeline. So being that it went through that channel, that now became the imprint again, I'll say it, I've said it before, I'll say it again, the INC. And he started to get his artists going on that label. Now with Paula Perry, even though Ace's first album appeared on Cold Chillin', it was called Take a Look Around. And shout to Brownsville, where he's from, two Brooklynites. He then did his debut album on Delicious Vinyl, and it was called Slaughterhouse. Now with Slaughterhouse, there was a record that she appeared on called Who You Jackin', and she appeared on the Slaughterhouse intro. Here's a little piece of Who You Jackin'. Check it out.
1, 1, 2, 2, check it, I can't stay home. Gotta take a walk down a block till the payphone. Right. Nah, like I said before I walk. Stick up kids hawk, but I don't stop to talk. I keep my hand in my pocket on my razor. Get too close, and I might have to graze you. Late night and early morning, niggas be scheming at dawning. Looking to jack what I wanted.
After all that transpired, then she set out on her own and dropped a single that was really popping in the streets called Paula's Jam. Very good record. Also, I got to shout out Q45, all right? And during that point, she reached out to me and said, yo, I need a Preemo joint. And on top of that, we had always been cool with each other because I used to live near Fort Greene and Clinton Hills, Brooklyn with Guru from 1991 to 1993 on Washington Avenue. So we were in the same vicinity. So after Paula's Jam started to bubble, then she reached out to me to do a record where Motown started to pick her up to do a project for her debut album, and one of the records that she enlisted me to do was her first single. From there, I started working on the joint. I just know that with somebody like her, I'm really into voices, and when it comes to voices like Paula's, I knew with her wordplay and rhyme style and delivery, we were gonna come out with a banger. And the dope thing about it is, once we did drop a single, she was like, video. So we had to roll the tape and get that video cracking. Now, let's back up a little bit to let you know, for those that are really late, because we're already after 50 episodes now, the sounds you hear are contained on these floppy disks, this thin little piece of stuff, hardware, you could call it, is where these sounds are stored. The weapons of choice or equipment that I chose to use was the Akai S950 sampler connected to the MPC-60 or MPC-62, the Roger Lynn version, also made by Akai. Then controlled and synced to 2-inch tape, no digital, we were on reels. And through that, it is controlled and synced by a box called the Roland SBX80. That kept the timing of everything being in sync through these cables that we call MIDI, which speak to all of these devices. So when the tape starts to spin, everything is in sync to give you the sound of what you're gonna hear when I load this up. From that point, I think it's about that time to load this up into the S950 sampler and then trigger it with the MPC-60 or 62 Akai drum machine. And you know when you hit that play button, you get this.
Oh yeah, it's Paula P and Preemo. We rising out the cuts, what? Jealous eyes wanna stare. Who cares? I double dare. Folk knives pay your fare when you're coming through. Every day I get saluted by guards on the boulevard. In my mind I know it's hard, so I'm trying to build something up. Throw the dice, raise the bank up. I take a bitch back in the days when we had cars we used to crank up. Smack 'em up, smell of coffee. Get up off me, chick, I'm on top of this, please. Like sesames on bones at Mickey D's. Pure like none, scarless knees. More than a woman like the BGs. But I still squeeze these. Hollow heads for hard heads. I shock a bitch and have a wig looking like Shaka. Corn word is born. Napalm bomb and drop up on your lawn.
Extra, read the headlines. We playing landmines. We get up in that ass every time. You better ask somebody. Clone daddies, fast hotties. What we in the lobby?
As we always say, it sounds so beautiful, don't you agree? Shout to Earth, Wind & Fire, where that came from the Gratitude album. Dope album. I love live music. I love live performances, and this is also live. Paula Perry, extra. Woo, read the headlines, you know what I'm saying? And like she said, I'll smack a bitch and leave her wig looking like Shaka. Con word is bomb. You gotta be hip hop to understand them lyrics. And shout to Shaka Khan, one of the icons of this whole industry. Shout to Rufus featuring Shaka Khan. And again, shout to the floppy disk, and y'all know that's what's up.
That's a bit too much. I hold a grudge, what? Tug of war, prepare for the mud, what? P. Perry, Sister Sledge, getting down and dirty, hold your head. Ain't nothing y'all can do, I'm here, I swear. Every time you hear something I drop, make sure your head clear.
Extra, read the headline.